It's time for Reason.
Because now we're introducing the one thing that we have that can actually change the mentality of the people that we're trying to influence, and that is capitalism. We can change their diplomacy. We can change their leaders. We can overthrow the dictators. We can try and quote-unquote free the people, but unless the people know what to do with that freedom, they're lost. The one way that we can change things is introduce capitalism.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
That's what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, the Thursday edition, the pre-Friday celebration, waking you up the right way, doing the thing, getting you pumped up for the day and for the rest of the week. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation, right here on the Big Talker 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM, simulcasting on KGPT TV, channel 2610. Welcome aboard. It's great to have you along today on a Thursday. 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. If you want to join in, we got the Facebook Live feed up and rolling. A lot to get to today, so let's jump right into it. You can't see actually on the table here in front of me, but I have literally paper scattered everywhere because as we're trying to cover as much as we can, I'm trying to go through and write down notes on everything that I can while we're trying to update and get some the latest information on some of it's nutso today. It is going to be one of those chaotic Thursdays. I can feel it, which is okay, because you know what? A chaotic Thursday means it's going to go by really fast, which means that you're going to be able to see a Friday come really quickly, which means you're going to be able to see the weekend come really quickly. So nonetheless, you know what? I am excited, and let's jump into some of this, shall we? It is open lines to you today, 316-721-8255. Phil Martinez of Phil's Coins is going to be joining us in the 8 o'clock hour as he has his, you've been hearing the commercials. We talked to him about it a couple of weeks ago, but starting tomorrow and Saturday, the here in the Wichita area, the local coin and stamp show that's going to be going on. We have more information coming on that in the 8 o'clock hour. Phil Martinez will be in studio with us for that. But until then, it's open lines to you at 316-721-8255. Let me ask you something, because it is the never-ending battle in politics. It is the never-ending discussion that we always have to have when it comes to compromise, when it comes to negotiation, as opposed to standing on what you feel is right and where that wavering is on what you need to stand firm on and what you need to be able to let go just a little bit. And as we're trying to chip away, advance the long-term agenda, advance the long-term goal, where is it okay to compromise temporarily in order to be able to gain in the long run? That's the question we always have to have. And between such ideological extremes, and yes, I will put it this way, normalcy, reason, and common sense, which is the conservative approach of things. And yes, I'm not being biased in any of this, but it is truly the reasonable, logical, commonsensical approach to political issues. Lower taxes, limited government, less regulation, cutting spending, and a focus on the private sector for the individual to be able to have individualism in order to flourish as an individual. I know it's a crazy concept. It's a wild mentality that no one's ever thought of before, right? It is a wild, fringe, radical ideology. Yeah. But nonetheless, that's the reasonable, commonsensical approach to things. We don't need a government program to tell us what to do and how to live our lives. That's just it. We don't need it. But yet we have them. And as we try to remove them, or as we try to downsize them, and as we try to slowly but surely repeal them, how do we do that? To what extent can we do that? And of course, we're talking about right now the Farm Bill 2018. That's one of the bigger things. We've talked to a professor from Missouri, University of Missouri yesterday, Scott Brown. He was on the show talking about some of the Farm Bill and said that, look, there's two bills right now, one in the Senate, one in the House. They're going to have to not only vote on them in their own chambers, but then reconvene and be able to, just like we did with the omnibus bills and with some of the other issues, reconvene between the two, blend the two together, and then vote on both of them again. And it's going to be a really interesting conversation, especially as we're talking about trying to limit and at least try and put some work requirements onto food stamp programs. Instead, I know it's a terrible, horrible thing. We hate the poor people because we actually want individuals to be able to work in an economy where there's actually more jobs than there are actual workers. And we want them to be able to at least work 20 hours a week as a part-time gig when it comes to some individuals. Not everybody, but if you're work-abled, then you have an opportunity to get a job. And right now, there are plenty of opportunities to get a job. I know that's a far-fetched concept, but that's what we're trying to advocate for as a step towards getting people off social programs. Social programs, as you know, are only supposed to be temporary. They're only supposed to be the hand up, not the handout, and they're supposed to get you back on track so you don't need them any longer. That way, you're not sitting on them for the rest of your life. And this would be a good way to do that. Now, the Senate version of the Farm Bill sounds like, in the bipartisan effort led by U.S. Senator Pat Roberts from here in the state of Kansas, is not going to have those work requirements in it. He said that they wouldn't be able to put those in because of the compromise they have to do with Democrats, and that we just all need to get behind this bill and just suck it up and just accept it as the fact that the way it is. According to the Topeka Capitol Journal, U.S. Senator Pat Roberts urged colleagues to support the bipartisan bill yesterday on Wednesday, gearing up for the showdown with Republicans in the House who insist food assistance provided through the bill will be connected to work requirements. He said the Senate can't pass the bill with those requirements and that he would need work with Democrats in order to craft legislation. He did join U.S. Senator Debbie Stabenow, the Democrat from Michigan, who's another big leader when it comes to the Agricultural Committee, in hailing the 5-year plan that received a 20-1 vote support from the Senate Agricultural Committee. 20 votes for the yay, 1 for the nay. Included are provisions, by the way, for crop insurance, conservation, rural broadband, and industrial hemp. Legalizing industrial hemp is a huge piece of this farm bill that not a whole lot of people have been talking about. As we've talked about legalizing it possibly on the statewide levels, this would legalize agricultural hemp on the national level. And I say good for them. I said that is one positive thing out of the farm bill. The crop insurance, one positive thing in the farm bill. Conservation, one positive thing in the farm bill. Rural broadband, sure. One positive. I don't know why that has to do with a farm bill on agriculture and sense as opposed to something like the Department of Utilities or something. I mean, whatever department or agency handles that sort of thing, you would think that's where that would go. But nonetheless, okay, great. We're getting rural broadband in so that way everybody be connected to the interweb. I feel really great about that. But we're missing 80% of the piece of pie here. We're missing the entire bill that is 80% of the funding that's related to subsidized social programs. Why are we not you know what? And it's going to be one of those like we did with the omnibus bill, like we did with everything else. Nope, you're not going to be able to get the work requirements in. We're going to do it just as we did before. We're not going to cut any of the SNAP program. We're not going to whittle down any of the SNAP program. We're not even going to slow the growth of the SNAP program. It's on autopilot. It's going to be an autopilot for a long time. It's just going to automatically increase 2, 3, 4, 5, 6% every time that we do this farm bill. There's nothing we can do about it. And if you don't vote for it, then you really, really hate farmers that are actually benefiting from the last 15 to 20% of the actual bill. That's what we're up against. And the Republican leadership that's in Washington, D.C., and the Agricultural Committee, including U.S. Senator Pat Roberts, who chairs this, by the way, is the one saying there's nothing we can do. We got to work with Democrats, so you might as well just give up your nice little false dream of actually wanting to do something substantial when it comes to the farm bill. So the question I have, because I understand compromise, I understand that in Washington, D.C., you're never going to get everything you want to, nor is it, I mean, it's not realistic. It's not going to happen. No matter how much you try, you will never get everything you want to 100%. It's just not going to happen. I'm a conservative. I would like to see 100% of what we get done, but in a realistic, commonsensical, normal world, it will never happen. When you debate and you argue with your wife, you never get 100% of what you want. In fact, you usually give your wife majority of what she wants so that way she can stay happy. Because remember the whole entire mentality of happy wife, happy life. So you kind of, go that way. But you get a sliver of what you want. I mean, you compromise. That's the way relationships work. But how much do we compromise when it comes to the farm bill? The farm bill is a huge bill. The farm bill is a massive spending bill. Some of it in good ways, many of it in not so good ways. So the question is that I have for you that I really want you to answer to get your take on is, where do we compromise here? How far do we push this? And I know that U.S. Senator Pat Roberts, I mean, I've not seen, nothing against him right now, but I've not seen any type of fire in him in a really long time, of a firebrand, of an outspoken, this is what we have to do and we got to make sure it gets done this way. I've not seen that. So that already mentally to me says that, well, you know what? He's trying to be a little too nice when it comes to the farm bill. Yeah, he would like to see some of the subsidies, some of the work requirements, some of the spending cuts, yada, yada, yada. But as soon as someone tries to put up a wall, he doesn't fight it too terribly hard, because I don't see that kind of spunk in him. I don't see that kind of fire in him. I don't see that type of go-getter type of mentality of like a young whippersnapper that wants to go out and fight the world kind of thing and take the bull by the horns. I don't see that type of mentality from him any longer. Or if he did have it, I don't know. I've only been here for the last 2.5, 3 years, so I don't know what he was like before that. But I don't see that. So to me, mentally, I can just imagine what the compromise and what the committees actually look like when he was discussing this and when they were crafting it, and whether he said, we have to have this in. Is there any way that we can negotiate to make this happen in order to put in some work requirements? Because that's what my constituents, as conservatives and as Republicans, that's what they want. What can we do to put that into the bill for you Democrats to support while we're trying to work on this bipartisanship bill? How much of that did he fight for? Or was it, yeah, no, it's not going to happen. Democrats aren't going to vote for it. Democrats aren't going to support it. I guess we might as well just give up and accept it. Because I'm all about compromise, and I understand that, again, we're not going to get everything we want to, but we at least have to try and fight for it, for crying out loud, don't we? We at least have to try. We at least have to do something to try and put up the argument and say, you know what? We're in the majority right now. We'd like to get something done here. What can we do in order to make this happen? At least to some degree. If we get 10% of what we wanted, and let's say that we only make them work 10 hours a week instead of 20 hours a week. Something. Which, by the way, 10 hours a week, go mow the lawn for, you and your 3 neighbors and you'd be fine. Something. But it seems like even in the world of compromise that we give up too easily, because compromise to the Republican Party today seems like, oh, we're done. We give up. Don't worry. Nothing we can do about it. Even though we have the majority, it's not a big enough majority because it's never good enough. And you need to give us more and more and more. And then we'll continue to not utilize it, not take advantage of it. And then we'll just say, sorry. Democrats don't want it, so I guess we're not going to get it. I mean, come on. It might be different if I saw someone else who has spunk and I've seen them all fired up and I've seen them all worked up. And it might be better if I've seen that type of personality from them. But I'm sorry, but U.S. Senator Pat Roberts, I just don't see it. I don't see them fired up like that. Jerry Moran, I don't see them fired up like that. I don't see them on the Senate floor saying, we need to get this done. We'll do whatever it takes to get it done. We will do it in a bipartisanship way. But we're not going to just give up and throw in the white towel before we've even finished the discussion. Because that's what it seems like we're doing right now. 316-721-8255. Let's go to the phones, get your thoughts on this, talking about the Farm Bill 2018, where it seems like the Senate side where, come on, even if we include the work requirements into the House bill, that sounds all great. But just like the immigration bill, it's got to be supported by the Senate. We send the House bill over to the Senate with the work requirements in, and according to them, they're not even going to try and fight to make that happen. They've just accepted defeat, which means that it's not going to go anywhere in the Senate, and then we're just going to lose out on everything. Because there's no fire, there's no spunk, and there's no one standing their ground on principle and saying this is what we have to do. Let's go to the phones. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
This is Carl.
Hey, good morning, Carl. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Say, I've always wondered why the SNAP program is even in the Farm Bill.
Yeah.
And I've come to the conclusion that they put it in there so they could get this thing passed to where we would be forced to vote for stuff on the SNAP program without ever voting for stuff on it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Why is it called or at least let's call it something else. I mean, if it's going to come from, they say from their argument is because it has to do with agriculture, because it's the nutrition and it's the food and it's everything coming from the agricultural side, that all of a sudden they can turn in a social program where they give free food out to everybody. So therefore it's going to fall under agriculture. But if they're going to do that, then let's do two separate bills. And we talked about that yesterday, and they've actually done that before, to where under the Department of Agriculture, they've done two separate bills, one for SNAP and then one for the actual farmers. Let's go back to that, so that way we can vote yay or nay on the SNAP program and the work requirements there, and then we can vote on actually taking care of farmers with the crop insurance and that sort of thing, the way what they actually need to have, and we can do it in two separate votes.
You bet. We have too many of these omnibus bills that throws everything in there, and we don't get to make the cuts that need to be made.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a prime example of that is the big first district out on the western part of the state. I mean, if you remember, Representative Tim Huelskamp out there, as part of the Ag Committee, voted no on the farm bill because of the fact that 80% of it was on a SNAP program. And because of that, he got attacked for being anti-farmer as being a farmer himself.
Man, you're so right, Andy.
Well,
I wish it had.
Well, we're trying to work on it, my friend. Hey, I appreciate the call. Got to take a break here, but I mean that's what we need to do. Let's get back to breaking up things to where we don't pile all of it on at the same time. We pile everything into one thing, and then if you vote against it because there's more bad garbage than there is good stuff in there, then you're apparently anti-farmer. It's time that we stop that. It's time that we break them apart. But are we going to do that again? I understand that we're not going to get everything that we want to. I get it. I understand that. That's the realism of the world. But at least fight for it. At least try to do something. At least do what you can to make that happen. I don't see the spunk. I don't see the fire. I don't see the passion. I don't see the emotion. I don't see that coming out. I just see that, well, yeah, it's not going to happen, so we just might as well give it up. That's what I see right now. It's unfortunate. It's heartbreaking. And it goes back to the discussions we've had so many times before called leadership. 23 minutes past the hour on a Thursday. Stay here. This is The Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Man, it's so frustrating because we have so many opportunities to be able to negotiate and get something that we would like. I mean, just walking in, extending the bill as it is right now, being able to pass a new one with no work requirements, no spending cuts, no nothing. That's not helping our agenda in any way, shape, or form. We have the majority in both chambers right now. I know it may be a slight majority in some of these, in the Senate especially, with only like one or two. Thanks, John McCain, for still not showing up for your damn job. But nonetheless, we're still in the majority. We still can do something. We have so many opportunities to be able to negotiate, to do something. All right, fine. You know what? We're not going to be able to get work requirements. Then let's cut SNAP by 10%. Let's actually cut it to where it's not just a slowing of the growth of, but actually cut it back by 1-2%. Something. Just a sign that we actually still remember how to negotiate, because there's many opportunities that we can do to start cleaning this up, getting it back on track. But it seems like as soon as the Democrats say nope, then we just say, oh, okay. Yes, mother. Good golly. Bottom of the hour news coming up. This is The Voice of Reason.
If Andy drives you nuts,
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
let him know. Call the show, 721-8255. This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Hey, welcome back into The Voice of Reason. Making it happen today on a Thursday, starting your morning off the right way. You can decipher that any way that you want to. It is wide open. I mean, come on. It could be the right way, or it could be the right way. However you want to interpret it. Welcome in 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK, starting your morning off the right way, better than a cup of coffee, the shot of espresso, even an energy drink, because that's the way that you need to wake up in the morning. 36 minutes past the hour. I do want to touch on the Farm Bill a little bit later on in the show again and go back to that because there are some more comments. U.S. Congressman Roger Marshall, he's made some comments as well talking about the Farm Bill as he's on the Ag Committee on the House side and his take on it, because again, we could get some decent bills out of the House. It's whether we can actually get them through the Senate or not. But again, where's the fight? Where's the negotiation? Are we going to get something that we want other than just saying, hey, we signed it? Come on, give me a break. On the home front, though, there is, as you know, a governor's race coming up relatively soon. There are many elections coming up relatively soon. August is coming up with the primary. You need to get out the vote. You need to be aware of many of those candidates, of their policies, of the issues. It's funny because I want to go and talk to just the average person on the street and just say, you know, how much do you follow this? How much do you actually follow policy issues in the state of Kansas? How much do you understand about it? Do you understand the tax rates right now? Do you understand where the money goes with education maybe? Because, well, you know, the majority of the individuals just assume, hey, we need more money for schools. Okay? Why? When you have a bistro in the administration building for school districts, when you have 5 different assistant superintendents making probably 6 figures or close to, when you have a superintendent making close to $400,000 or $500,000 a year with end of the year bonuses, and then the teachers are the ones that are struggling and not actually getting any money into the classroom. It's absurd the way this is going. But, oh, hey, we need more administrators. We need more people in the office punching the papers and doing a thing. Really? So these are the issues that we need to understand, not just by listening to the show, which I'm glad you do, and I want to give you all that information so that does click and the light bulb comes on. But at the same time, we need to let as many people know as we can about what's really going on, about what's really happening in our state. Medicaid expansion. What's the normal mentality of the average person that doesn't follow politics? Yeah, you know what? Medicaid expansion sounds really good because we need to help people. That's about the depth of it. It is a bumper sticker comment, the bumper sticker argument that the progressives do really, really good at. What do you believe in Medicaid expansion? Yeah, we got to help people. Sticker. Okay, do you actually understand anything about it? Well, it's a government program, which means the government's probably going to take care of people, which means it's probably not a bad thing. You know, we got to help people out because people need help, and we're there to help them. We're not jerks. That's the normal not common sense go, but it's the normal default position that many actually fall into. And that's what we have to do. We have to break that glass ceiling. We have to break the norm of that concept, because I just don't understand why we just came to that default position so often and so easily as a nation that's built on individualism. I don't get it. But if you talk to someone who's not involved in politics, who knows nothing about politics, who knows nothing about the issues, that's the default position. Yeah, you know what? It sounds good. That's what we need to do. We got to take care of people. People are struggling. It's really bad. Donald Trump's probably a racist and hates people, so therefore we need to get people on programs to help them out. That's what we hear in the norm. So we need to be able to break that glass ceiling and be able to understand these. There was a forum at the Missionary Baptist Church yesterday for many of the gubernatorial candidates for the governor's race. Democrats Carl Brewer of Wichita, Josh Swatty, and Laura Kelly of Topeka rejected notions of raiding the state's treasury for more money to assist parents who enrolled their children at private schools. That discussion was yesterday when it came to the private school voucher programs, and the big question has always been, do you use government taxpayer subsidized money to get back to the parents in order for them to choose what schools to go to, whether it's a private school or whether it's a public school? And that came up yesterday during the forum. I'm really glad, I'm kind of surprised, but I'm really glad that we're having a forum where both sides of the aisle are coming together for this forum. I don't know necessarily what it's going to help right now, because we're not in a general election yet, and right now usually we kind of whittle down to one candidate on each party, and then we go at it. But having a forum like this with all the candidates together is kind of interesting. But of course we took the typical stances. Democrats say, nope, we need the vouchers only to go to the public schools. We don't like to subsidize our money to go to the private school because the private school should be private and only the rich people can go there. And then we can hate them for being rich and that they get the better education. But at least we can keep it separate because we like the division between people. I mean, does that make any sense to you? But that's the process of the Democrats. Don't have any vouchers. Don't help people out to go to a better school because they could have the opportunity to get a better school. That public money needs to stay at public schools, and then we can hate people who can actually afford private schools. Because then we have the opportunity to hate it. If everybody has an opportunity to get a better education in a private school, then there's no one to hate because then everybody has that same opportunity. So it's unfair for us because we don't have the villain to play here. That's honestly, truly the only argument they have against this. It really is. It's the only argument that they have is that we wouldn't have a villain to hate and to demonize if we ended up blending these two. You know the whole argument that, I mean, the Democrats historically have been the ones for segregation. If you want to talk about the race card, they have been. The Democrats did. They voted for the segregation. They voted for the Jim Crow laws. They voted for slavery. The Democrats have always been on that side of the aisle. They love keeping people separated so that way they can have the villain to play each other off of one another. The same thing happens in the educational debate. The same thing happens when we talk about schools and getting our kids educated because the private kids should stay in the private schools, the public kids should stay in the public schools, and people that are poor and don't have necessarily a whole lot of funds to be able to take their kids to the private school, they're forced to go to the public school, not even a charter school, not even really, they don't like the homeschooling option. Not even the magnet schools. They don't even like those because they're kind of hold themselves to a little bit higher standard as well. They don't even like that. Not public school. Public school. And then when it fails, then we can go back and say, look, we need more money for the public school, a.k.a. towards the administration, a.k.a. towards the government and the bureaucrats, a.k.a. towards the agencies that actually run these things. That's who needs the money so they can continue to fail. We continue to dump more money in it. The system becomes more and more corrupt. But then we always have the villain to say, look, public schools are failing. Poor individuals are not getting educated, and it's the fault of the rich people because rich people take their kids to private schools. They're getting a better education, and we don't like them. Have you ever thought of the fact that they love keeping people separate like that? It's the exact same argument of which they use for segregation. Yep, separate but equal, right? Yep, separate but equal. That way we can hate the other people. We can continue to feud between classes, between the skin colors. This is the way that they think. And I don't understand it. It's never, I don't know, I must have a crossed wire somewhere because I don't look at it that way. That I believe everybody should have an equal opportunity. And you should get the voucher. You as the taxpayer, whether you have kids going to school or you don't have kids going to school, whether you're a grandparent, whether you're a single individual and you've never had kids, no matter what your situation is, your taxpayer money and your property tax money, by the way, even if you don't even own a property, but you're renting sort of thing, that money going towards them who pays the property taxes for the actual rental room, they pay the rental property taxes. All of that money goes to the government and then comes back down to education. Then you had the local property taxes that are going there as well for all the bonds that the school districts feel, and it goes on and on and on. No matter what situation you're in, you're paying those taxes to be able to fund kids to go to school. Now, if it's dispersed like that amongst everybody, and it's dispersed that way for every student and every family to be able to take their kids to a public school, then what's the difference whether you say, all right, the public school is free and you can go to the public school because we're paying for it via a hat tip to the taxpayer Joe in the state of Kansas, or you mail them a voucher for the family and say, hey, you got kids, here's a voucher. You can take it to the public school to be able to get your education, or you can take it to a charter school to get your education, or you can take it to apply it towards a homeschooling education, or you can apply it to go to a private school education. It depends on their grades. It depends on the quality that you want to take them to. It depends on the requirements of what that school actually allows for them to get in, on whether you want the more relaxed, oh, you know what, we're going to accept everybody, or hey, you know what, we're going to hold ourselves to a little bit higher standard. But it's your choice. You have the choice. Why would a system like that not work? Why would people be against it? That's the first question. But regardless of whether it works or not, why would people be against that idea? To say, We don't care whether you make $1 million a year or whether you make $20,000 a year. We're sending you a voucher for each one of your children for an X amount, and everybody gets that same X amount, and then you can decide where you're going to take your children to school. And if you want to use that voucher just to go to the public school and apply it towards their athletics or towards whatever, then all the power to you. You have that choice. If you want to take it to the magnet school and try and do a little bit of the same thing, all the power to you. You have that choice. If you want to apply it towards a private school and it covers the majority of the private cost, or whether it covers half of the private cost and you want to try and compensate the rest of it on your own, there you go. You have that choice. Why would someone be against that? Why would someone hate that so much? The one singular only reason that a progressive would not like that is because they love having a villain. They love demonizing someone. They love having an enemy that they can go after. And that evil person is the same person, that same evil villain that they've had since the beginning of time, as soon as a progressive ideology came about. And that is the person that has more than them, the person that's doing better than them. And instead of wanting to reach that level of success and reach that level, they stoop lower to be able to attack that person and play the victim. That's the only reason why anybody would be against a system like that, because I just don't understand. I don't see any other option why they would say this is a bad idea. 316-721-8255, 47 minutes past the hour. Your thoughts? It was an interesting, I didn't see it, but I've been kind of reading some of the recaps on it. Kind of an interesting forum. Again, the fact that we're actually putting Republicans and Democrats together before the primaries are even done was kind of a really foreign concept, but kind of an interesting one at that. We'll see how many more they do. I know the Republicans at least have a couple more debates before the primary in August. I believe one this month or next month, but there's at least one or two more debates for the Republicans. Democrats, I don't know. I haven't heard them actually have an actual debate. They don't like to spar very much because they're kind of on the unison kind of path. They know what they're going to promote, and they're just going to see which one has the favorability popularity contest. And that's really how the primaries are done for the Democrat side. Republicans, we just go at each other's throats when it comes to ideology. And that's a good thing to me. Again, let's beat each other up in the primaries, get the best ideas, and then go on to be able to beat the Democrats in unison as a collective, as a Republican Party, to beat the opposition in the general election. But the only way we do that is to be able to have a nice, hearty, I mean, come on, I'm Irish. We're Vikings. We're just think of it that mentality, that even your best friend you beat to a pulp to be able to train yourselves on how to become a good fighter and how to become a warrior. That's what you do. That's the way we are. And you're best friends, but at the end of the day, if you have a broken eye, a black eye and a broken rib, then you know that you're a good warrior. And then you pat each other on the back, have a pint of beer, and then you go on about your business. That's the way it was then. Let's do that on the ideological front. Let's beat each other up. Let's have a good time. Let's roughhouse. Animals in the animal kingdom, what do? They roughhouse. They fight. They bite each other. They claw, because that's training for the real world. The primaries are the training for the general election. Let's beat each other up, and then let's reunite together. Let's hold hands as a Republican Party and go on about our business for the Democrats in the general election to be able to beat them in the general election. Democrats don't do that. That's why they're so soft. And I don't mean that in a bad way in any way, shape, or form. They're just soft. They know their ideas. They get their marching orders. They're all in unison, and then they go about their business. They're always in unison. Sometimes it works for their benefit. Sometimes it doesn't. But the Republicans were a unique beast. Why? Because we're still the warriors, or at least we're trying to maintain to be the warriors on the ideological front. 10 minutes at the top of the hour. This is The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
The never-ending ideological battle between conservatives, progressives, Republicans, Democrats, realism, non-realism. It's so funny. I was in a professor's class in college. It was international politics or international relations or whatever it was, and the professor was from Austria. Yes, he had the accent with like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he wanted to be a politician like Arnold Schwarzenegger and everything. But he was from Austria, and he was a nice guy. And it was a class of about 30 students, and I was in there with one other conservative, which is hysterical because she was an African-American gal, and she was really cool. And her name was Sparkle. And no, it's not a stripper name, I promise you. No, she was actually really cool, and she was really fun, and I would sit next to her and chat because her and I were the two conservatives in the class out of about, 20, 30 students. And he would always laugh at us because he's like, oh, you realists. And he tried so hard to get us to understand the progressive mindset of like Europe and how we need to be more like Europe and European politics and how we need to have more socialized mentality and how we need to have the collective thing as opposed to the individual thing. And, oh, you realists. And so he would say every day when we would go to class, you realists. Like, yeah, I am. Why aren't you a realist? Because realism is kind of what, turns the world. We don't live in a fantasy world. We're not chasing Puff the Magic Dragon all the time. We live in a realistic world where real things actually happen. You need to be able to cope with the real world because no one's going to be there to hold your hand every single day for your entire life. It's not going to happen. Yes, I am a realist, and I'm okay with being a realist. It was quite interesting. It was a really fun class, and it was that was when I was actually paying attention to many of my classes, which I do admit didn't last very long, but nonetheless, I did enjoy that class. The other class that I did have, and I think I've told you this before as well, at the same time, mind you, was an American government class my very first year, and the professor walked in. Of course, he's probably making six figures or so. Walks in a Hawaiian t-shirt, half of his buttons down with a bunch of his chest hair out, and this is he walks in, a little bitty short guy. I don't remember his name, and he comes in and says, very first day, says, I'm a libertarian socialist. And what? A libertarian socialist. Okay. And that was a bigger lecture hall of about 80 students or so. And one conservative, this guy. And he knew I was in the College Republicans at the time, and he would always give me a hard time for that, and I'd always give him a hard time. Actually, at that time, I was listening to Rush Limbaugh quite a bit, and that was the year that Rush Limbaugh had run for the Nobel Peace Prize, and I bought one of the coffee mugs that said Rush for Peace, and I gave it to the professor as a gift, and just for kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing, and he loved it. It was hysterical because he's never had anybody that sparred with him as much, and he always gave me a hard time. But yet at the same time, I do give him credit. He was very, very fair, and I ended up graduating that class with like a 97%. So, I did very well in the class, and he didn't do anything to curb my grade, which was good because I've heard many of those horror stories. But he would give me a hard time every single day for being those conservatives. And as we come out with these ideas like this, when it comes to the school vouchers, when it comes to immigration, when it comes to taxes, when it comes to regulation, it's okay for us to stand up for these things. It's okay for us to stand our ground on the principles that we have. It's okay. And in fact, I dig it. In fact, I like the argument being 5-1 because that's what I've been used to since high school. And that's what we kind of have become accustomed to. We become the ultimate debaters, right? Because now we understand that we're always outnumbered when it comes to the angry mob that needs a villain. Hour number 2 of The Voice Reason coming up. Lots more to get to when we come back. The swatting issue just took a whole nother turn. This is The Voice Reason. Stay here.
Speak. It's time for Reason.
Because now we're introducing the one thing that we have that can actually change the mentality of the people that we're trying to influence, and that is capitalism. We can change their diplomacy. We can change their leaders. We can overthrow the dictators. We can try and quote-unquote free the people, but unless the people know what to do with that freedom, they're lost. The one way that we can change things is introduce capitalism.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
That's what I'm talking about. Welcome into The Voice of Reason, hour number 2 of The Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation. Here in Wichita, Kansas on the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. Simulcasting on KGPT TV, channel 2610. Welcome aboard. It is one of the best days of the entire week. I don't know, one of the 5 best days out of the entire week. Just saying, as a Thursday, the pre-Friday celebration moves right along. Let's get you started the right way. 316-721-8255. If you want to join in, the Facebook Live feed is up and rolling, facebook.com/1480KQAM. Lots to get to coming up. Hour number 3, Phil Martinez, Phil's Coins. He'll be joining us as he talks. Usually it's the last Thursday of the month. No, don't worry. We didn't go ahead of time. He is going to be joining today, talking about starting tomorrow and Saturday, their coin and stamp show that's happening here in Wichita. Going to be really excited to talk about that, as he teased a couple weeks ago when he was in studio. So we'll talk about that coming up in hour number 3. But until then, it is open lines to you at 316-721-8255. Also, I got to admit, I apologize. I did not get a chance yesterday to get someone registered for the Ultimate KQAM Father's Day giveaway. So we're giving that away tomorrow tomorrow in the last hour of the show. So we're going to register 2 people today and 1 last person tomorrow. And we'll have all 5, and then we'll give it away before the end of the show tomorrow. So stay tuned in for that. It's going to be a lot of fun with the Ultimate KQAM KGSO Father's Day giveaway. We'll have more information on that in just a bit, but we'll get someone registered probably before the end of this segment. Hint, hint, wink, wink. So stay tuned for that one. Plus, at the bottom of the hour, we are going to be giving away as well a Riverside Cafe complimentary burger and fry. We'll have more information on that in just a bit as well. But until then, it's open line to you, 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. We have a lot that I want to talk about. The Farm Bill, of course, being passed in the Senate right now. The House still working on their version, and the compromise or lack thereof when it comes to the work requirements that may or may not be included into receiving some of the SNAP benefits and some of the food stamp programs. So we'll talk about that. We have some comments from both of our senators, along with House member Roger Marshall out in the Big First, who's on the Ag Committee for the House side. We'll talk about that. Plus, I want to get you, as you know, you may have heard some of the local news. Hat Tip to Cake TV on this one, but the gamers that were involved in the swatting incident that led to the death of Andrew Finch, we've gone round and round many times on this show about that situation and about what was right and what's appropriate and what's not appropriate when it comes to law enforcement and what actually happened out there. And again, none of us, as far as I'm aware, unless the law enforcement officers that were involved in that are listening to the show right now, none of us listening right now were actually there to witness what happened to be able to make a judgment on it. And 2020 hindsight is always perfect when you're looking back, right? We always have that nice 2020 hindsight, being able to look back. But the gamers have been arrested, as you know. What was it? 1 in California, 1 in Ohio, and then 1 here in Wichita. Those 3 gamers were arrested. They've been on trial here in Wichita. And as of yesterday, the latest on the 2 gamers charged on the fatal swatting incident, the 2 gamers who, with the online dispute over the video game, allegedly led to the swatting call that resulted in the police fatality shooting of a Wichita man, have pleaded not guilty. 18-year-old Casey Viner of North College Hill, Ohio, and 19-year-old Shane Gaskell of Wichita pleaded not guilty Wednesday to conspiracy to obstruct justice, wire fraud, and other counts. What? This goes a little bit deeper than we even thought. Of wire fraud? And then, of course, the SWAT. Are they going to even at least try them on the actual death of the individual, first-degree murder or second-degree murder? I guess we would go second-degree murder on that one, wouldn't we? Prosecutors alleged that Vinter asked 25-year-old Tyler Barris of Los Angeles to swat Gaskell. Police went to a Wichita home in response to the call that shot Andrew Finch was not involved in the dispute. Gaskell and Viner were released on a $10,000 bond, claiming not guilty, though. I understand that this is the legality process of what goes on. I understand that this is what you do in these situations, trying to hold up with the lawyer and trying to have the lawyer fight your battle for you and try and get off on the technicality or try and weasel your way through it or sort of thing. But not guilty on a case like this really is, unless it's just the wrong kind of charges. Now, I don't know if right now, before we pass the law at the statewide level or even at the federal level, if we can technically go after them for murder, second-degree murder, third-degree murder, whatever they end up doing. I don't know if we can go after them for that because there was not a law in place saying that. But I'm pretty sure, now I don't have any offhand that I know of right now, but I'm pretty sure that there's been numerous different cases of accounts where someone had been involved in a murder but that weren't physically there at the murder scene, right? There's been some that have instigated the situation, that have encouraged the situation. If you remember, there was a case, about a year or so ago and it made national news. It was the high school teen girl that ended up getting arrested and going to trial because she had encouraged her boyfriend to commit suicide, and it was because she wanted the attention and she wanted to play the victim and just be really sad because, her boyfriend had just committed suicide, and she wanted that kind of attention. And she was texting the boyfriend while he was in the truck going through this because he had gone through a lot of depressed states before, and he was really emotional, and he had those types of mentalities before, and she had encouraged him to do so, just to be over with the pain, that nobody loves you, your parents don't care for you, yada, yada, yada. And she was on trial for that, and she got, if I remember correctly, she got convicted. And she got in trouble for that because of the fact that she encouraged him to do that by stuffing the tailpipe of his truck and dying. I remember that. Why would this case not fall into something like that as well? And why would you plead not guilty? I mean, doesn't that just set you up to be in more trouble later on? I mean, a lot of times they let you off with a little slap on the wrist, or at least a lesser of a punishment if you plead guilty and you take a deal. But to plead not guilty, I mean, other than just the fact that you played the legality game, and I get that, it's just wrong. It's wrong. And this really falls down to maybe more of the basic level of kind of unveiling the layers of the onion here, but more the basic level of the fact that people try and get away with stuff all the time and try and find the technicalities rather than taking the responsibility of what actually happened. Did these kids really, truly, honestly think that someone was going to die in this incident? No, they didn't. They didn't. They were gaming. They thought it was a joke. They wanted to swat, quote unquote, the individual that was here in Wichita, gave them the wrong address or something, and then that's what happened. But guess what? Decisions have consequences. What you do has consequences. And they should have come out, by the way, after all this and said, yeah, that was a dumb thing to do. Yep, that was our mistake. Do you go to jail? Sure. You have a heavy conscience. You killed somebody. You had cops think that there was an active shooter, which is the dumbest thing that you could possibly do, to go to a home under the situation, under the circumstance, and under the mentality that there is an active shooter. Someone's already dead. Children's lives are in jeopardy. And you're going to plead not guilty to that? You've got to have some type of conscience to hear and say, that was a really dumb thing to do. That's severe. That's bad. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe people just turn that consciousness off. And I mean, everybody's made mistakes. Don't get me wrong. I've made my share of mistakes myself, but nothing to that severity. And wouldn't that just burden you badly? And then to rely on hopefully a technicality that you can get away with it. Yeah. Oh, we're just innocent kids. Really? I don't know. 316-721-8255, pleading not guilty. So, of course, it's going to be drawn out. So we could spend more taxpayer money, by the way, to take them to court to try and find the right lawyers that are good enough to be able to prosecute them and be able to take them to jail and be able to get them punished for what they did. And it's just going to be drawn out. This is the way the system's set up today. It's way too expensive. It's way too drawn out. And we get to worry about this for the next year. Does that make you feel nice and warm and cozy as we're looking for closure, as we're looking for a way to make sure this never happens again, as we're trying to get the details of this situation and out of this case? We're trying to make sure that swatting issues are going to be a thing of the past. And thank God that we have our state legislature trying to work on this to make sure that this is going to be a crime. And if you do end up making a swatting call and it does lead to something like this, that you will be punished to the same severity as if you were there pulling the gun yourself or pulling the trigger yourself. At the federal level, Congressman Ron Estes supported that bill and proposed it and said, we need to address this, saying the same thing, that you will have that severity put down upon you. So maybe they can't try him right now under that situation, but I wish we could. I wish there's a way to do it. And wire fraud, that's the way that we're going to do it. Wire fraud? Now, unless there's something else outside of the actual calling of the swatting and making that call that we're not aware of, that I'm not aware of at least, where there was some kind of wire fraud, maybe they paid him to do it as a bet, and they're going to try and go after him under the wire fraud case like that, but I don't know how big of a case or how strong of a case that's actually going to be. I don't know. It seems like they might get scot-free away from this. They might be able to walk away with this, and that's why they're pleading not guilty, because there's a weak case, since there's not a very specific law that says that you made a call telling someone that there's an active shooter, go and kill this person, or go and take care of the situation with cops. Ha ha ha, that's a really funny joke. You made that kind of case. You made that environment. You created the environment, and now you're not going to get punished for it? And you're going to plead not guilty because you feel you can get away. 2 online gamers will be making their first appearance in federal court for the alleged rollbacks on the hoax calls that led to the Wichita police fatality shooting. It's very soon. It is gaining national attention. More and more people are talking about, by the way, the issue of swatting. Barris is being prosecuted first in the Sedgwick County District Court, related state charges, and involuntary manslaughter, giving the false alarm and interference with the law enforcement officer. Good, good, and good. Let's punish in all of those accords. And let's actually make it happen. Your thoughts on this? I know that we've had some differences when it comes to the discussion, and some people don't even want to go after these individuals, but want to go after the cops, which doesn't help the situation because that allows more swatters to make these kinds of calls, and then we're going to continue to see. So we need to nip this in the butt now. We need to make an example out of them, on whether you're talking about the political front, whether you're talking about the realism front, whether you're talking about just the fact that people think this is funny for some degree. I mean, this is to the level of eating Tide Pods and then wondering why you're in the hospital, and then us wanting to cover it under a universal health care system. That's the level of stupidity that this is. Make an example out of them to put the fear of God in any other individual that feels like this is going to be a fun prank. The fear of God needs to be instilled into them, and that's what we have to do with this case. 316-721-8255. 19 minutes past the hour. We'll take a break. Get your phone calls when we come back. This is The Voice of Reason.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
24 minutes past the hour. Welcome back into The Voice of Reason, waking you up the best way we know how to do so, which is, getting you angry about politics. That's the best way we know how to, at least I know how to wake up. Look, it's either politics or heavy metal. You're getting one or the other with me, baby. You're going to get to work all wired, frigid, and ready to rock and roll because you know what? That is the best productive way to actually get there. 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. By the way, speaking of lunatics doing really stupid things in society, people that just don't get it, people that don't, there's crossed wires somewhere, and they think that it's okay to be able to make a stupid prank like that. It's okay to eat Tide Pods. It's okay to snort condoms. I don't know what the deal is, but criminals obviously don't have all their wires straight in their brains. And Jacksonville, Florida, there was a incident. Police say that a man who tried to carjack 2 people, and this, by the way, goes to the advocation of the Second Amendment. He tried to carjack 2 individuals. I don't know if he was thinking he was playing like Grand Theft Auto or what he was doing. Tried to carjack 2 individuals. Both of them had a handgun and made him flee, made him run away because they had a handgun. And while he was trying to carjack them, they pulled out their firearms and threatened him, and he ran away. And he got arrested because one of them was able to hold him. 2 people. This is why you carry a firearm. This is why firearms are a good thing. This is why the Second Amendment was supposed to be there. This is why everybody that's talking about trying to take away guns is completely ridiculous and absurd. I mean, come on, just imagine you see this guy or you're maybe that individual and you're desperate and you're trying to run and trying to steal a car. Or maybe you did a bank robbery. You tried to steal something. You're running from the cops. Whatever the case is, you're running. You try and steal somebody's car. Nope. They got a gun. Okay, I'm gone. See you later. Go to the next one. Nope. Got a gun. Okay. You know what? I give up. I give up. There's too many guns around here. I can't do anything. That's supposed to be the way it is. That's supposed to be the way things are supposed to operate. That right there, my friends, is really how we should have the hero of the day.
I need a hero! A hero's gonna save me just in time!
Well, there's 2 heroes right there, both of them being able to carry firearms, and kudos to them, my friends. That right there is a successful victory story. It's that time!
If we're going to be brutally honest, the drawing you made of me when you were 3 was far from a perfect likeness.
All right, Meg, stay incredibly still. I'm going to whip that cigarette out of your mouth and maybe not slice your face in half.
I need some peace and quiet. I want to focus on the turkey. Everyone just go to bed.
Bob, it's 6:30.
I don't care. Just go to bed.
You love that turkey more than you love us.
That's right. I do.
Call now at 721-8255 and get registered for the Ultimate Father's Day with KQAM.
That it is. It's the Ultimate Father's Day giveaway. It's time to get somebody registered. As we did not do one yesterday, we'll do 2 today. This is the first one. Get ready for it and be caller number 3 at 721-8255-721-TALK. Here's what you're going to get if you end up getting this. So you get really 1 in 5 chance, which is pretty awesome if you get registered for this. You get 2 ticket vouchers to go see the Kansas City Royals game of your choice. 4 ticket vouchers. So you get to take 4 people or you get to go twice or whatever you want to do. 4 tickets to the Wichita Open Golf Tournament, because that's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a lot of fun. 2 tickets to 81 Speedway, race of your choice, and 2 tickets to the Wichita Wingnuts game on July 4th with fireworks. That's the package. You get all of it if you end up winning. Let's do caller number 3 right now. Brought to you by the way, this KQAM Father's Day giveaway. Brought to you by Roden Roofing, 358 South Elora Street. Visit them online, rodenroofing.com. That's RHODEN roofing.com, along with Auburn Hills Wine and Spirits, 19940 West Kellogg Drive in Goddard. You can visit them with all their specials, deals, and location on Facebook at Auburn Hills Wine and Spirits. We'll take caller number 3 right now, 721-8255. Whoops. And, well, sure, why not? Let's go ahead and do that again. There you go. Caller number 3 will get you on here.
3 was far from a perfect likeness.
All right, Meg, stay incredibly still. I'm going to whip that cigarette out of your mouth and maybe not slice your face in half.
I need some peace and quiet. I want to focus on the turkey. Everyone just go to bed.
Bob, it's 6:30.
I don't care. Just go to bed.
You love that turkey more than you love us.
There you
right.
go.
I do.
Call now at 721-8255 and get registered for the Ultimate Father's Day with KQAM.
There it is. All right. Well, you get to hear the sounder twice. So we'll do caller number 3 right now. We're only taking 1 right now. We'll do another one in hour number 3, but we'll take caller number 3 right now. We'll get you signed up, get you registered for the Ultimate KQAM Father's Day giveaway with Roden Roofing and Auburn Hills Wine and Spirits. We'll do that right now. Bottom of the hour news coming up. It's open line to you when we come back as well. When we come back, we have another giveaway we'll do in just a bit, plus your thoughts and calls on anything that we've talked about so far. We'll touch back on the Farm Bill a little bit when we come back. This is The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
Through the fake news on a daily basis.
I hope now you boys see that this is totally serial.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
That's what I'm talking about. Welcome back into The Voice of Reason, right here on the Big Talker, KQAM, making it happen on it.
What do you mean that's what I'm talking about?
That's what I'm talking about. We're weeding through the fake news. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Brought to you by Riverside Cafe. This portion of it, your complimentary burger and fries coming up later on in this segment. Stay tuned in for that one. 3 locations, 2 in Wichita, 1 in Derby with a Riverside Cafe, 9125 West Central Avenue, 739 West 13th Street, and 824 North Baltimore in Derby. 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. Congratulations to Jeff for getting registered for the Ultimate KQAM Father's Day giveaway. Brought to you by Auburn Hills Wine and Spirits, along with Roden Roofing. We'll have another registrant later on in the show today, since I did not get one. Forgot to do that yesterday. So we'll do 2 today.
That's the first mistake I think you've. Well, we won't call that a mistake.
We won't call that a mistake.
It was an oversight.
I got really tied up on really crazy stuff, and we just didn't get a chance to do it. So,
what's the craziest thing happening in the world right now? The craziest thing happening in the world, according to Andy, right now.
That's a really tough one.
Just pick one.
My band's back together.
Your band is.
That is the best news that I could possibly have.
That heavy metal
there
stuff.
You go. See,
yeah.
I should almost play a segment of that. A portion of that.
I thought for a second, like maybe you had a musical bone in you, and then you had a band at some point.
I used to.
No, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What do you mean you
Called the
used
Hoosier
to?
Daddies. Ah. There you go. I'm working on that one.
Oh, my gosh.
It's a future band.
Really? The Hoosier Daddies.
The Hoosier Daddies. That's right.
Oh, man.
See, I almost wonder if I should get a line on here. So when I do get a call and someone's debating with me, if I end up winning the argument at the end, be like, who's your daddy? I'm wondering if this should kind of happen.
I don't know if that should kind of happen or should kind of not.
It should kind of not. I don't know. I may have it on hand, ready to go if that appropriate time ends up happening.
Are you enjoying the political ads on TV that are? Boy, they're already throwing mud.
This is going to be
the Kobach thing. The Kobach thing. They're really throwing mud, and they're like using clips of. I saw this ad on Cake TV. I think it was on Cake, where they're actually using a news clip of the Cake news anchor talking about the case where Kobach was fined and all this.
Oh, sure. Any way to demonize. I mean, they've really built the straw man up quite a bit to try and make him look like a terrible, horrible human being. He doesn't like immigrants. He doesn't want anybody to vote. He carries a really big gun in places to scare people and trigger them, to make them feel emotionally distraught. He uses the government to pay for the fines for the neglect that he uses in the courtroom. Whatever the case is, it's really kind of comical to watch how they go after him. It really is.
Now, and then you've got on the national scene and world scene, I should more correctly say, on the world scene, you've got President Trump with the most historic meeting perhaps ever to take place in the name of peace.
Sure.
And the left-wing media won't even acknowledge that he's
This is how delusional we've come. Remember,
it's how delusional the left has become.
Well, the left has become
the left media, I should say.
Well, no, not just the media. I mean, people outside of the media as well.
I have Democrats I love dearly, but
sure,
the left media is so darn biased. You know, with the Associated Press, even the Kansas Bureau of the Associated Press, I have to unspin stories to get the truth out now, and I do it. Mm-hmm. There's no shame in that.
Sure,
I'm not going to say
that liar President Trump.
I won't say I spin the stories from the Associated Press, but I damn sure unspin them.
You could call it's the Unspin KQAM Studios.
Every time that the Associated Press, when Brownback was governor, they never ever listed the Associated Press when they would do a news story about Governor Sam Brownback.
Yes.
They would never ever call him governor. They would say Republican Sam Brownback.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Republican.
They refuse to admit the fact that he's actually governor.
Republican this, Republican, and I would always substitute the word Republican with governor because that's who he is.
Mm-hmm. They live in a very delusional world because remember when the meeting was about to be called off with Kim Jong-un in North Korea, then of course Donald Trump failed because he wasn't able to succeed in making the meeting happen because his attitude got in the way and his Twitter account got in the way. So how dare it's not surprising because he's not able to pull this kind of thing off and he's not good enough to do it. And then it gets back on track and we shouldn't do it in the first place anyways because why are we sitting down with tyrants and I can't believe that he's actually in a liar meeting a liar and a tyrant meeting a tyrant. No, look at this. It's a match made in heaven and yada. This is what it's come to, which is actually really pathetic. Hey, I want to ask you something real quick.
Axe away.
As we talk about the gun debate, the Second Amendment debate, and I read the story right in the last segment real quick as well, but this is our hero of the day.
I need a hero. A hero's gonna save me just
all right, I get it.
All right, so there's two heroes actually in this case. Maybe I should play it again.
No,
okay. Two heroes in this case. This is why we need the Second Amendment. In Jacksonville, Florida, a guy running from law enforcement, apparently, I don't know whether he robbed something, I don't know what the situation was, running from the cops, or maybe he thinks he's playing in Grand Theft Auto, not quite sure, tries to carjack two individuals.
Okay.
Both individuals pulled their handguns on him and stopped him.
Nice.
There you go. I mean, that's kind of a heartwarming story, isn't it?
I think so.
There you go. the reason why we have gun rights. Being able to stop a guy twice. I mean, that's talk about bad luck. You're trying to run away and nope, not going to do that one. Nope, not. Oh, you know what? Just turn me in. Done. Can't deal with it.
Stupid criminal tricks.
There it is. The farm bill underway, and that's what I wanted to get back to was Pat Roberts coming out to the House, ended up passing the farm bill on their side. The Senate passes theirs. The House still working on theirs, but on the Senate side, Senator Pat Roberts coming out, and the big debate, of course, has been about the work requirements on the farm bill. And the farm bill, he's saying that we're not going to get any work requirements because we have to work with Democrats, so therefore we just need to accept the fact that no work requirements will be done on making people at least have to work 20 hours a week in order to receive some form of the food stamp program. For some individuals, not for everybody, but for some individuals. And that's been what Republicans have been trying to do, putting in work requirements, and him just saying, yeah, we got to work with Democrats. Democrats don't want it, so we're just not going to get it in our bill.
What if they're on disability?
Well, of course, if there's individuals that are actually unable to do so, then obviously.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a fan of that, I think. If they're able to work, if they're capable of working.
And right now with the national economy where we have more jobs than workers, why wouldn't we try to implement something like that?
That's because we have like the lowest ever unemployment rate.
Sure.
Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you, President Trump. So now we have more jobs than workers. We want someone to work temporarily if they're able-bodied and able to do so. Maybe because they lost their job a while ago and they're on temporary social programs, whatever. That's why they're there. I mean, we're not saying let's cut them off completely and say, nope, you got to figure it out yourself. It's the hand up, not the handout sort of thing. But to put in worker, and they panic and they freak, and the Democrats don't want it. And I got to be honest, I don't see a whole lot of spunk, a whole lot of fire, a whole lot of get-go when it comes to our senators in the Ag Committee that are actually trying to negotiate something. They're just, you know what, Democrats don't want it. We're not going to be able to get it, so just accept the fact that no work requirements are going to happen.
Well, what are your feelings on illegal aliens receiving food stamp benefits?
Do you really want me to go there?
See, I already know. Yeah. You know, and it's just like, for me, this is one of my deals. And of course, we won't talk about this because it's tabooed. But what do you think about people who are unable to pass a drug test getting governmental benefits?
There again. What state was it? Was it Alabama or Louisiana? One of the states that that did that. They put the work requirements in and drug testing in, both of them, into their social programs at the statewide level. 60% drop of individuals on those social programs.
Well, you know.
I think it was Alabama. I want to say. I'll have to look that one up. Let's go to the phones. 316-721-8255. Now, by the way, Roger Marshall, U.S. Representative from the 1st District out on the western part of the state, did come out and say that we think teaching them to fish is the right thing to do and that he is advocating for the work requirements. Again, the question is, though, can we get the work requirements into the House bill and then get enough support to have that pass in the Senate? As opposed to the Senate, who just doesn't think they're going to have enough majority of the Republicans in order to make that happen. Let's go to the phones here, shall we? 316-721-8255. Good morning. What's your name?
My name is Eddie.
Good morning, Eddie. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. As far as this farm bill and having the individuals work to receive their money, that's not a problem. And drug tests should be mandatory, period.
Thank you, Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that goes along with that is the fact that, you know, they can also get a medical card, which means they can get all of their medical care free. Mm-hmm. You have to work your butt off. I have to work my butt off.
And then have a lot of that pay taken in the form of insurance. So that we can,
Let me ask you something, and this goes into more of like the Obamacare debate as opposed to just the food stamp program, but it ties in together. If someone's on, let's say, a social program, or they make their decisions, and we're not doing drug testing or whatever, and they're buying junk food all the time, and let's see that you walk into their house and it's nothing more than the cheesy poofs and bonbons, and do they still have they're still doing the Twinkies? Thank you, that word. They still have Twinkies, even though Hostess went out.
Get to your point.
Okay. They're eating all these things. They get arthritis. They get diabetes. They get arthritis and diabetes. They go to the doctor. They're trying to get taken care of. And it's because of the lifestyle and what they're eating. Is that an advocation for us going towards a socialized, universal Obamacare style to where we have to pay for their health care based on the health decisions that they've made themselves? Should we be doing something like that?
I don't know about that.
You're on a limb, Andy. He is out on a limb, Andy.
No, wait. If you're a smoker and you get lung cancer and you're on Obamacare, should we pay for your lung transplant or your treatment for the lung cancer because of the decision that you've made? I mean, this really goes into the government healthcare argument of why we're subsidizing someone for the bad. Now, obviously, there's other genetic things that we can't do anything about or whatever, but if you're making lifestyle decisions that are bad, that make you sick, and then we're covering that, really?
Oh, I don't know. The deal of it is, what about vaping? What about those people that vape? Let's cut them off, too.
As Rick blows a puff of smoke here in the studio.
Eddie, I was liking you a lot right up to this point.
Well, first of all, I like Rick, okay? He's a very fine man. And if he wants to vape, you let that man vape. I mean, in fact, if you want to buy Andy one of those vaping deals, buy him one and give it to him.
I got my hookah at home. I'm okay, thanks.
But that aid from the state should be used for people that are actually in need of it, and not for people that just want a free ride.
Exactly.
And you go right back to the old saying of it should be used as a hand up rather than a hand out.
Exactly. That's what it is. Eddie, I appreciate it, my friend. We got to take a break here in a minute.
Are we going to give away a burger?
We are going to give away a burger. It is that time yeah, baby. Now we're going to do Stump Rick Everett.
Stump the newsman.
And if he gets it, then you get a complimentary burger and fries. If he doesn't get it, then you have to call and save his arse, and then you get the burger and fries.
Yeah, you win either way.
You win either way. So, but we're going to try and have a little fun here. So there it is. So your complimentary burger and fries hat tip to Riverside Cafe, 2 locations in Wichita, 1 location here in Derby, even though we're not here in Derby.
We're everywhere.
We are everywhere. Who's your daddy? Complimentary burger and fries on Riverside Cafe. So here's the question for you. And we're going to go back to the whole TV sitcom thing.
Oh, gosh.
All right. What is the name of in season 1, the candidate running for president, and season 2 and 3, the actual president of 24?
See, that's not a comedy show, number 1.
I didn't say it was going to be a comedy show.
And number 2, you're the only one in the world that was addicted to 24.
Oh, no. I'm sure half my listeners are all about 24.
I'm vetoing that question. Take your commercial break, and we'll come back with a legit question.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, really? Wait, you're not going to try
question.
it?
24? Come on. Pick a CBS, NBC, or ABC television show that people watched. Thank you. I'm done.
Okay, let me ask you this. Have you watched the show Once Upon a Time?
No.
A major current ABC show.
That doesn't mean I watched it. And if you're doing trivia, you can't do trivia off a current show.
Why not?
Because it has to be nostalgic trivia.
Well, okay, we're 7 seasons in, so
I'm
there's plenty of time.
older than you, dude. Pick something that was like going on 10 years ago, so it's fresh in my mind.
Oh, I see how it is. Well, come on, 24 was 10 years ago.
Commercial break.
See this? All right.
I demand it.
I tell you what, if you're able to answer that question, who the president was or the candidate for president in season 1 of 24, the name of not the actor, I guess you could do the actor as well, but the name of the actual individual, you can get this. If you don't, then we'll do a different question when we come back and get your answer on that one. This is The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
You're listening to The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Four minutes to the top of the hour. All right. Well, thank you. I had a Facebook Live listener say 24 was the greatest show ever to be made, ever.
Was that Tiffany?
So, that was not Tiffany, no. She actually laughs at me for that. No. She shakes her head when I'm like, honey, let's watch 24 for the 18th time.
So did they get the question right? Your Facebook
no,
Live
they did
person?
not say the answer on there, so that one is still up in the air. The answer for that one was President David Palmer, the greatest president that we've seen, because he worked with Jack Bauer, of course. Hello.
This was on 24, people. There was no David Palmer for president.
Okay, President David Palmer.
This is all make-believe.
Oh, okay.
All right.
There you go. So, new question. So, we got to start it over again. So, all right, new question right now. And you got a minute and a half to answer, so we got some time. The holiday today. What holiday is it today?
What holiday is it today?
Yes.
Huh. What? Give me a hint.
It's a patriotic day.
It's a patriotic day.
Yes.
It has to do with World War II.
Sure.
You don't know.
Well, I mean, it ties in.
It ties in?
We have a caller.
Okay.
That might be able to answer
Let's take the caller. Let's take the caller.
Let's take the caller. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Jim.
Hi,
Good
Jim.
morning, sir. All right. Save Rick, please, for us. What holiday is it today?
It's Flag Day.
Oh, my goodness gracious, Jim. How did that escape me?
Thank you.
Oh, my God. I feel horrible.
There we are. Flag Day is today.
I feel horrible.
Hang on the line, Jim. We'll get you, my friend, a complimentary burger and fries from Riverside Cafe.
Really quick. If you're taking I-235 south from Zoov Boulevard to Central, AutoSmart, I noticed this on my way in this morning. AutoSmart has an enormous flag spread out on their building facing to the north. Check it out, people.
Because it's Flag Day.
Oh, my gosh.
There it is. Jim, hang on the line. Congratulations, my friend. Complimentary burger and fries from Riverside Cafe. Stay on the line. We'll get your information here in just a second. Lots more coming up. Hour number 3 right around the corner. This is The Voice of Reason.
It's time for Reason.
Because now we're introducing the one thing that we have that can actually change the mentality of the people that we're trying to influence, and that is capitalism. We can change their diplomacy. We can change their leaders. We can overthrow the dictators. We can try and quote-unquote free the people, but unless the people know what to do with that freedom, they're lost. The one way that we can change things is introduce capitalism.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
That's what I'm talking about. We like it. We love it. We need some more of it. Welcome into The Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. Simulcasting, KGPT TV, channel 2610. What up? Welcome in. It's great to have you along today on a pre-Friday celebration. It is like one of the greatest days of the week, isn't it? I kind of like that.
I kind of like it, but I'm more of a Friday guy.
Kind of more of a, Friday. Hey, but I mean, the almost Friday is just almost as good. See? There it is. Phil Martinez and Phil's Coins. Now, this is kind of unusual. I mean, we usually don't talk to you until the last Thursday of the month, so we kind of get an every 2-week schedule here for a while. It's kind of nice. There you go. Great to have you back in studio.
I'm glad to be here.
9344 at West Central Avenue is Phil's Coins, and the reason we have you in is because tomorrow and Saturday, going into, can you believe it? Father's Day weekend's already here.
Yeah.
Year's nuts. But coming up tomorrow and Saturday is a great event that you guys are working on. Talk to us about what's going on.
Well, this is the 35th annual Kansas Numismatic Association, or the K&A. It's a coin show.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to we'll have dealers coming in from Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, probably Nebraska. I've got one that comes in he's either from Iowa or Illinois. I think he's from Illinois. Sometimes we get a guy coming in from Arkansas. We got guys coming in from Colorado.
Okay. We
got one guy that normally comes in. If he's here this year, he comes in from New Mexico. So we have coin dealers and stamp dealers.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget the stamps.
Don't forget the stamps.
Don't forget the stamps. But big coin and stamp dealers from all this area.
Okay.
It's basically one of the largest shows in the state.
Wow.
For a coin show. There'll be coins of all kinds and descriptions. There'll be gold and silver. There'll be silver dollars. There'll be currency.
Okay.
I bought a collection of ancients the other day with about 250 ancients, and I thought it'd take me 2 years to sell them, and I've already sold 200 of them.
Wow. What are ancients?
Ancient stuff that was back in Roman times.
Like legit?
Legit. AC, BC type stuff.
Like they're not replicas.
No, these are real coins. It's amazing.
Where do you get those?
It came in a collection I bought. I mean, we normally always have a few ancients.
How much do those go for?
Some of them as little as $5 or $10, and some of them for $400 or $500. I mean,
do you still have some?
Yeah, I've got.
I know where I'm going.
Yeah, I've still got a whole tray full, and we're going to take them to the show. I mean, we bought some certified ones here a couple months ago and took them to Kansas City. My wife goes, "You think you can sell one?" And I said, "Well, if we sell one or two, that's better than just setting them in the shop." And we took like 26 of them, and we sold like 22 of them in one day, and the dealers bought most of them. But dealers, but we'll have ancients there. There'll be some really cool paper. I think Dean Smith out of Atchison is going to have. It's called a brownback. That's what the bill is called, brownback, because the back of the bill is brown, nothing to do with their governor.
Okay.
But anyway, it's. I think Dean's going to bring it. It's valued at $20,000. I mean, you'll see.
That one's just out of my range.
Just a little out of your range.
Out of the range.
But there's going to be, there'll be some inexpensive paper. There'll be expensive paper. I mean, there's a little bit of something for everybody. We'll have drawings out there for door prizes.
Okay.
And so you come and you'll register. We'll just give you a regular envelope. You'll address it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll use these for drawings for the door prizes. And then next year, we also use them. We stuff them with the brochures or the flyers for the show next year.
Sure.
And we mail those out so that you get a personal invite to the show, so you'll know exactly when it is and everything.
How cool.
The show will be at the Cessna Activity Center.
Okay.
Which everybody knows where the Cessna Activity Center is, or I hope they do.
Yeah, sure.
It's going to be Friday from 12 o'clock. This is something new. We've never done a Friday, Saturday show. It's always been Saturday, Sunday show.
Sure.
So this is something that is being tried in several different places, and this is something we're going to do.
Okay.
The show will be open to the public at 12 o'clock on Friday and run till 7 o'clock.
Very good.
Normally we close at 5, but because we're starting later, we're letting the dealers come in and set up and have kind of a dealer's hour. The dealers complain sometimes the public's in there and they're still setting up and they don't get to go do business with anybody, but the public's in there buying the coins they would have liked to have bought. So they're going to be a dealer prep, but basically from 12 o'clock to 7 on Friday, and then it'll be on Saturday from 9 in the morning to 5 in the evenings.
Okay.
Free parking, free admission. If you don't have anything else to do, bring the kids out and let them walk the floor. I tell people, don't bring any more money than you're prepared to spend, because if you haven't been to a coin show, it's overwhelming.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it is. Oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks cool. Oh,
I can remember the first coin show I went to, and I was already telling everybody I was a coin dealer, and I was overwhelmed. I mean, when we walk in, my wife goes, there used to be a gentleman here in town by the name of Lee Puckett.
Mm-hmm.
Delightful gentleman, very knowledgeable, very what I would consider to be a very honest coin dealer.
Sure.
I may be wrong, but as far as I know, he's a very honest coin dealer.
Sure.
And my wife walks up there, and she's looking, and she picks up this coin, and she goes, "Looky here, honey, isn't this cute?" And I looked at it, and it was a half dime, an MS-65.
Okay.
Which at that time was best grade you could have got.
Wow.
And so it was a really nice coin. And she looks at it and she goes, "What do you think, hon?" And I said, "Put it down. Put it down. Don't drop it. Put it down.
Put it down and walk away."
And so she's standing there going, "But honey, it's cute." and I said, "Yeah, honey." And so she hands it back to Mr. Puckett and she says, "And how much is this cute little coin?" And he goes, $13,000. And she goes, Oh. And she sets it down and she looks at him and she says, "I guess I got caviar taste on a peanut butter budget." And everybody thought it was funny, but Puckett.
Oh,
but that's my
great.
story about my wife. But so, I mean, there'll be I don't know what the most expensive coin will be there, but I'm sure there'll be something in the $25,000 range and down.
Wow. And all the way down. But then, I mean, the stuff that, like you said, I mean, $5, $10, $15, $20. I mean, you can find stuff like that there, too.
We sell a lot of modern stuff. We sell a lot of stuff under 50 cents.
Under 50 cents.
Yeah, I mean, people that need uncirculated pennies and nickels and dimes and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's a little something for everybody.
Sure.
I mean, whether you're got a lot of money to spend or just a little bit of money to spend, it's there. I mean, you know, you can shop around. You don't have to. I mean, you know, you walk into my shop and basically my price is my price, and that's pretty well the way it is. And at a coin show, you're going to have probably 20, 30 dealers, and so you know, I mean. Some will price something at this price, and you go around and you can go, man, that's $300. That's kind of out of my price range. I'm looking for a $150 coin. Well, in some cases, you may be able to go find that coin in a lower grade somewhere else that you can afford to buy for $150 or $10 or whatever.
Sure.
So I mean, but there's something for everybody.
Sure.
There is the Boy Scouts will come up and set up I won't say buffet. That's not the word, but anyway, they have food for the dealers there.
Okay.
So the public. So if you come out there and you know you're there for lunch and you want to go over there to the concession stand, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Sure.
You can buy whatever they have, and then we pay the Boy Scouts use this as a moneymaker for their projects and stuff.
Very good.
I don't remember. I think we've got Troop 895 coming in. I think I may be wrong about which troop it was. We had trouble getting a troop this year because we had conflict with the Boy Scout camp.
Oh, sure.
But we do have a Boy Scout group coming in, but we'll have tables and chairs. There'll be a place for you to sit and visit. So
fun.
it's a really fun time for everybody.
Sure. Tickets at the door. How much are those, or do you just walk in? It's free.
It's free to the public. Yeah,
to walk in.
You will have. You know, you do have to register, but you just write all your information on an envelope. We keep the envelopes. Nobody else sees the envelopes.
Sure.
And then we use the envelopes for the drawings.
Okay.
And so I'm not sure what they're going to give away. Sometimes they give away gift certificates worth so much money at such and such and such, or they'll give away, people donate like proof sets or different coins or something like that. But there's something, and then normally at the end they have a bigger drawing for bigger prizes.
Okay.
Usually they give away like some kind of small gold coin, a 2 peso or something like that. But
sure,
which those are still $60. So
sure.
So there is something out there for everybody.
Let's go back to those ancients for a minute. I'm still fascinated by that.
Yes.
That they're actually, how many are actually in rotation? How many are out there for people to get? I mean, these ancient
Thousands.
coins, just. And that's why they're so,
Thousands.
because you would think like an ancient Roman coin would probably be worth thousands of dollars, kind of thing.
It all depends on what they are.
What's the most unique one or cool one that you've seen or you've run across?
Oh, we get some of the larger stuff that's silver.
Mm-hmm.
Now the silver ones that are well struck, that have well designs, those will sell usually in the $400 to $500 range.
Okay.
I mean, they're probably, it's surprising, if you stop and think about it,
mm-hmm.
they were made way back when.
Sure.
But at the same time, it was in a dry climate. So all these coins that were dropped or lost, I mean, think about how many battles were fought and
Right.
guys carried their valuables into battle and they were scattered all over the fields. And so, I mean, there's still people digging this stuff up.
Sure.
Now but at the same time, now I had a bunch come in the other day, and I think we bought them for 50 cents a piece and sold them for like 75 cents a piece. They were about half of the size of a dime. But they're made out of copper. Now the copper ones are usually the inexpensive ones.
Sure.
It all depends on design, how well they're struck. We see a lot of counterfeits come in the shop. People bring in the better pieces, and there are certain things that we look for to tell. If you can take it and you can look at it, you can see a seam around the center of it.
Sure.
That tells you that where they put the mold together to cast it, that's the seam you get where they can't get it tight.
Okay.
And so, there are counterfeits out there.
Sure.
But this is one of the largest collections of ancients that we've bought in
a long
time.
I'm gonna have to check that. I don't know, that boggles my mind. That's really cool. I'll have to check that out.
Well, I mean, it's let's see, what is the widow's mite?
Okay.
I mean, you go back to biblical times. Those widow mites are usually around $20. It's supposed to be the smallest denominational coin out there.
Sure.
I used to have a place to where I could get them, and they guaranteed the authenticity and everything. And we'd sell them at, one time you used to sell them for like $11 or $12. Now they're about $19, $20. And haven't had any for a long time, but widows mites come in occasionally, and usually somebody will come in and they'll buy, you got 4 or 5 of them, and they'll buy them and they'll take them to church. Sure. And hand them out to people in their Sunday school class something like that to have something that was referred to in the Bible.
How fun.
So it's really crazy.
That's really neat. That opens up a whole new world to me there. Let's take a break. We'll touch on this again when we come back, ask a few more questions, get some more details. Coming up, it's the coin and stamp. We'll talk about the stamps, too, when we come back, too, because that's a whole other aspect that we haven't even gotten to yet. But it's coming up tomorrow and Saturday, noon to 7 tomorrow, and you said 9 to 5 on Saturday. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have more details on that when we come back. Phil Martinez of Phil's Coins in studio with us for one more segment. 20 minutes past the hour. This is The Voice of Reason.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Welcome back into The Voice of Reason, 25 minutes past the hour. We got a few minutes with Phil Martinez of Phil's Coins, 9344 West Central Avenue, getting ready for the Coin and Stamp Show coming up tomorrow and Saturday at, where'd you say, Cessna?
Cessna Activity Center at 2744 George Washington Boulevard.
Very good, very good. It's going to be from noon to 7 o'clock on Friday, 9 to 5 on Saturday. Come check it out. No price at the door. You can just walk right in. As you mentioned, door prizes. You get to see all the... How many vendors are going to be there for this one?
I'm guessing 50.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, but between the coins and the stamps, and then you'll have people selling other stuff too, but most of it's all coins and stamps.
Sure. Very cool. Go there. And let's talk about the stamps for a minute. Now, last time, I was not aware of this, and you mentioned this last time when you teased this, was that you don't handle stamps by actually touching them. You don't touch stamps.
No, you don't touch stamps. They use... You and I'd call them tweezers, and in the stamp business, they call them tongs. They're usually like tweezers with a little flat edge.
Yeah, you don't touch those. So, but that's really cool. So the stamps, my grandpa used to have a big book of stamps. I don't know whatever happened to it. He probably still has it somewhere. But what's the value that stamps can get to as well? Because I don't follow that. For what little I do with coins, I do even less with stamps.
I mean, there's some of them that would bring $1 million. I mean, there are stamps out there that are so rare that they'll bring huge money. The stamp market, all in all, is... I guess I'd tell you it's in the toilet. I mean, the stamps are not worth much right now. The markets are being flooded. The younger generation, just like coins, younger generation's not collecting this stuff.
Sure.
They bring this stuff
in. No, they're the ones eating Tide Pods. It's okay.
Yeah, Tide Pods, yeah.
I mean, come on. If you're eating a Tide Pod, you probably don't see the value in a coin or a stamp.
That's right. I had a cute story. This guy comes in, and he's got some coins, and I tell him what they're worth, and he goes, okay. And he says, well, I'm going to take them home and give them my kids. And one of the guys steps in and goes, you don't want to do that. And he goes, why not? And he says, your kids are only going to look at the instant gratification of the coin. They're not going to realize, and the guy goes, oh, no, my kids are smarter than that. So a week later, he comes back and he sells me the coins.
Like, it didn't work out.
And I said, weren't you the one? Yep. He said, I said, I didn't like what that guy told me. But he said, I went home and he says, I had 3 boys. I picked out the middle-aged boy. It's a true story, 13. And he said, and I handed him a little handful of V-nickels. And he looks at him, he says, there you go, son. And he said, a lot of those are, anywhere from 50 cents to $5 a piece.
Sure.
Cool, Dad. And the boy standing there looking at him, and he's sitting there, and he goes, so what do you think? And the kid's going, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 50 cents there. Dad's buy me a can of pop. And he goes, but son, some of those coins are worth $5. Yeah, Dad, there's 50 cents there. Will buy me a can of pop. Dad took them away from him, brought them back, and sold them to me because he realized the kid would have just spent them or put them in a pop machine.
It's a lost trade. And again, not the entire generation obviously eats the Tide Pods. We got some really great in the generation. But, it's kind of a lost thing of understanding the value of those coins.
Hey, Phil, about the show tomorrow at Cessna Activity Center, I've heard you guys talking a lot about coin dealers and stamp dealers selling things, but will they also be buying things?
Yes, you can come out there and anybody will give you a free quote.
bring your free goodies, which I was thinking about doing too, coming out, and we have our can of stuff that I've still been wanting to bring to you to take a look at, see if it's even worth anything or why we've been keeping it, or maybe I should go buy a can of pop with it.
Maybe.
But yeah, yeah, that's a good idea too, to bring some stuff out.
I've got people coming in there, and I can tell them what some of their stuff is worth, and you can tell they don't like what I tell them. Unfortunately, I told them the truth, and so I had to tell them, hey, you're lucky because this weekend there's a coin show out at Cessna. You can take your stuff out there, and you can find somebody that will tell you. Basically, going to tell you the same thing I told you.
And 9 out of 10 will come back to you because you have the best bids.
There you go. See, there it is. It's the event coming up this weekend. And you wanted to mention some people that were actually partaking with us. Hang tight. We got to take a bottom of the hour break. We'll do that quick when we do come back. We are out of time on this one. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to call in as well. 316-721-8255. Bottom of the hour news coming back. We'll remind you one more time, recap this, and get you ready for the coin and stamp show this weekend. Should be a lot of fun. Great time to get out for Father's Day weekend. Plus, we still got to get somebody else registered for the Father's Day giveaway today. We'll do that coming up in just a bit as well. This is The Voice of Reason.
When taxes go up, so do our tempers.
Oh my God, no!
Fighting for Kansans every day. This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
That's what I'm talking about. Welcome back into The Voice of Reason, making it happen today, wrapping up the show. We got a few minutes left here with Phil Martinez, Phil's Coins, 9344. Getting ready for the 9344 West Central Avenue. I should probably finish that actual whole address. But the show coming up this weekend, tomorrow, noon to 7 o'clock. On Saturday, 9 to 5 o'clock, it's the Coin and Stamp Show. Go check out some of the... I'm going to go just to look to see if I can find some of those ancient coins. Because that, to me, I don't know. That's just really cool. To think about 2,000 years ago, how many people have held that coin, what they used it for, what it was like then, how many, where it's been. I mean, if that coin... they always have that TV show, If Walls Could Talk. Like, if coins could talk, like where that... It would just be really cool to get something like that. I don't know. That's really neat. So, but you guys got a big thing. You said close to 50 vendors. It's going to be out there, and a lot of people came together to be able to make this happen, right?
Yep. I would like to thank Rick Everett and Andy Hoosier for allowing me to donate the time or help me get this advertising out there. This has been a big plus for the shop. Radio station 1480 and 102.5 to donate the time and everything. We appreciate the station being behind the organization.
You bet.
We needed some trivial stuff yesterday. Dillon's donated a little bit of stuff to help us out, so I'd like to thank the Dillon's Corporation or Kroger or whoever owns them anyway. I'd like to thank Dillon's.
Sure.
It wasn't much, but at the same time, it's expense we didn't have to have, and we appreciate that. So there's been a lot of people. Dean Smits has put on the show. He's a coin dealer out of Atchison. Great individual. One of the top 3 dealers in the state of Kansas. So the top 3 largest dealers in the state of Kansas will be at the show.
How cool.
So it'll be a fun time for everybody.
One of those being you, obviously. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, hey, exactly.
For coin shops, I'm actually the largest dealer in the state of Kansas with a coin shop. But
that's fantastic.
Largest bullion dealer in the state of Kansas. But
I love it.
No, but yeah, there'll be some really fine people there, and you can come, and most of them are pretty friendly. Be glad to explain things to you. And like I say, if you've got coins to buy or sell, you can buy them or you can sell them or you can get free appraisals or whatever. But there will be people out there to answer your questions and help you with anything you need.
Very cool. Very cool. I love it. It's going to be a great event. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, we love helping be able to get this out there and let everybody know about it. I'm gonna try and get out this weekend and go see it and go see some of the stuff. And as you mentioned, you can go and buy stuff. You can go and take your stuff there, and you can just see how everything works. And just go and spectate. It's fun. You don't even have to spend anything. Just go and check everything out if you don't want to. But of course, then you're going to be enticed by seeing some of that really cool stuff.
Only bring the cash you can afford to spend. Don't bring your credit card or a checkbook because you can get carried away. I'm sorry.
That's what it's all about.
But that's a fact. And I've had people who've been there before and go, yeah, I should have left my checkbook and my credit cards at home because I spent way too much money.
Money.
Because, if you've never been to a coin show or you've never, I've got people been in my shop and they're overwhelmed with what I've got, but then they go to a coin show and there's 30 times this much stuff and they're going, wow. man. So it's crazy. So good time for everybody.
Good time for everybody. Phil Martinez, Phil's Coins, 9344 West Central Avenue, going to be open today at 9:30. So coming up here soon. Just real briefly before we let you go, but how is the market looking right now when it comes to some of that silver and gold? Any change?
Silver broke 17 the other day, so silver's up a little bit, but gold's down to about 1,300. Okay. And the premiums on gold is way. I mean, I'm sorry, but normally gold runs me about almost 4% over spot to buy it, and right now I can buy it wholesale for just a little over 1%. So I mean, there's more people selling than buying, and so there's I sold gold yesterday at my cost wholesale just to get rid of it.
Sure.
So what it cost me to go out and replace it. Didn't make much on it, but
just to get rid of the inventory.
Just get rid of the inventory. So and same things. We bought a huge amount of 10-ounce bars, so I'm gonna have 10-ounce bars on sale this weekend. So I'll also have them on sale at the shop too. So that way I don't take it. I got to be equal. Got to be equal to everybody.
Right.
But,
right.
Yeah, but there'll be a lot of stuff out there. So
very cool.
Be a good time, and I do thank the radio station for their time.
Hey, we love being able to help out with it. Phil Martinez, Phil's Coins, we appreciate it, my friend. Good luck to you out there, and we'll see you out there this weekend.
Right. Bring your wife and have a good time.
Hey, that's what we're going to do. I love it. 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. Great event to be able to get involved with this weekend. It's open line. See whatever's on your mind as we finish up the last few minutes of the program today. It's really fascinating thinking about a topic like this, especially when it comes to the value of things, the value of coins, the value of what we give value, and understanding the history of it. And like Phil mentioned, the story between, giving the young kid the coins and not understanding that the nickel isn't just, a nickel of 5-10 cents or whatever, but it's, could be worth $5-10. And, let's go buy a video game. Let's go buy a soda with these. And the value of that, we're not teaching a lot of that much anymore. And when we do go to education, by the way, we go to the higher education, you go higher and higher and higher up. If you recognize the higher up we go with a lot of that education, then we end up going towards the understanding of more the progressive value of saying, it's more valuable to stay in debt for some reason by printing off more money when there's no backing behind it to give it value. Then you see the value of the dollar dropping, which affects the commodities, which affects these things, because then it's even more expensive to be able to pay off some of the debts. You can see the change in society that we've had, this whole mindset of quantitative easing, to where we just inject a whole bunch of money to be able to pay off the debts, lower the value, print off a whole bunch more money, and we're all set, right? No, society can't survive that way, and it really goes back down to the truest forms. And we get that, by the way, because of the progressive mentality in education. And one of those that really explains that, because, of course, as you know, everybody just needs an education today, right? We need to go up to that higher education. We need to get tens of thousands of dollars into debt with student loans to be able to get that college degree. JP has the words of wisdom for us. What does he have to say today?
I know that the most intelligent way to start making a lot of money is to find a way to get at least $100,000 in debt before you even begin making money. So I decided to go to college. College isn't for most people. It's for all people. If you don't get a degree, then you're declaring you want to be homeless, unhappy, and a failure for the rest of your life. Having a college degree has now been the standard for so long that everyone in the workforce has one. So you having one makes you just like everyone else. And at the same time, somehow your degree sets you apart from everyone else. And if you don't see the brilliance in how this helps you, then you're not very intelligent. And you clearly didn't go to college. Imagine if people were born with innate brilliance, potential, vision, creativity, and ability. Then we wouldn't need college. But that's not the fantasy world that we live in, from what I'm told. So I think it's important to acknowledge that those innate qualities are only found in university educations. If you don't go to college, there's no chance that you'll have a successful career. Success isn't dependent on hard work, vision, and creativity. It's dependent on the degree you achieve before you start achieving in your career. What excites me even more than the $100,000 of tuition costs for a degree, teachers who only teach a subject rather than actually doing the subject out in the world are the true purveyors of wisdom. They're basically like the wise elders in our society, and they're definitely the wise sages that I'm willing to go into debt for half my life for so that I can learn from them. From early elementary school, I was taught to think that I need to do well in school so that I can get accepted into college so that I can have a successful career. Because that's what I was taught to think. I think that's what I actually think. Therefore, I think that getting a degree is not only a guarantee that I'll have a successful future, but I also think that it's the only way I can have a successful future. And that's a fact. Because there isn't a way to get free information about anything anytime you want it, I think universities are completely justified in charging their customers the prices that they do. Because 30 years ago a college degree would set you apart, it means it still does today. It's just like once upon a time, a horse and buggy was the most effective form of transportation. Then came cars, then came airplanes, but even still to this day, a horse and buggy is the most effective form of transportation. What kind of job do I have now that I'm out of college? I'm unemployed. But last month I had a job for 3 days. I was hired by an 18-year-old tech entrepreneur. But then he said he had to let me go because I lacked the practical skills to get my job done well. He acted like he didn't even know that I have a degree. He probably doesn't even know what a degree is. Probably thinks in Celsius or something. But my prospects are looking good. Here's my new plan. I'm going to take all the skills I learned in my MBA and open a video rental store.
There you go. The words of wisdom from JP right there. The education of today, making it better for the world around us. 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK, open line to you. Let's go right to the phone, shall we? Good morning. What's your name?
Hey, brother, it's Joe.
Joe, what's happening, sir?
Oh, not much. I was just, I called in, and between the phone call and the deal, you're switching from radio and I was like, what did I just start listening to? And I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on here. I'm like, what did Andy do?
Come on, those are the beautiful words of wisdom, are they not?
Wow, that was, what's really scary? There are people out there who really think that way. That's what really scares me.
Yeah, they're called progressives.
Wow. That just was, I was like.
Let me ask you something. If you see some of the attack ads that happen to some politicians, and a politician that's running for office says, I don't have a college degree because I've been a business owner, because I've worked, because I've gained real world experience. Have you ever seen those campaign ads where the progressives will come after them and say, oh my gosh, you don't have a college degree, you are uneducated, you're a complete buffoon, you have no reason in any way, shape, or form to be an elected official, how dare you, and we're going to go on that smear ad campaign. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
It happens all the time.
So the thing is, you look at the guy and he's got a company that employs, let's say, 20 people, makes an annual revenue of, say, $3 million. Mm-hmm. He lives very comfortably on, let's say, $250,000 a year. Him and his wife, they give to the church, they give to the local community.
Sure.
Yeah. And so how many of those, degreed people that, these liberals that are attacking them with degrees, don't live in their mom's basement?
If you remember, there was actually a story about a year ago with the Democrats or the progressives in the mid-region here of the country that said that Kansas is extremely uneducated because we have the least amount of people with college degrees, because instead of actually being, college educated and being very suave in that sense, they've actually gone to trade schools, and they're truck drivers and they're ranchers and they're welders and they're all these other people that went to trade schools and actually are working. But we are the least, one of the least educated areas because we're rural and we never have college degrees. So therefore we must be a bunch of dumb hicks, right?
No, because we have common sense and we know how to work.
There it is. But they don't see it that way.
Simple. And that's it. That we've done like I said, it's death by 1,000 cuts, and we've done a 180-degree reversal of what was normal when I grew up is now not normal, and I don't understand it. I just look at these people and I thought, are you kidding me? So
I've had it said a few times to me. I mean, we've gotten in debates on social media or in face-to-face, and we start talking about policy issues or social issues, and they've asked me, do you have a college? I mean, we'll talk about global warming. Do you have a college degree in environmental studies? Well, then you shouldn't have any right to say any of this because you don't know what you're talking about. What?
But you can.
I can go outside and look at the damn weather. How about that?
Well, you can do the same search that a lot of other people do. You get on the internet and you start Googling things and you start looking at different things. And guess what? You've educated yourself. You learned something every day. You try to teach yourself. That's what I try to do every day. I try to learn something new every day.
Well, all you got to do is listen to the voice of reason.
Well, there you go. There's my one thing every day.
There you go.
But you know what I mean? It's just one of those. It just kind of kills me that some people just they don't think that you can look up information and research stuff yourself, but yet people do it all the time.
And then when we
do
try
it every day.
And then when we try and say the commonsensical form to bring it all around and put that nice little bow on it to say, you know what, wait a second, living as a society in debt and being in debt constantly and having our debt being increased to close to $23 trillion and us not being able to sustain it, and the value of the dollar going down because we're printing off money without it actually being backed by anything is a really bad idea. And then they come back on you and say, you're stupid, you're ignorant, you're uneducated, you don't know, because printing off money is fine, injecting money into the system is fine, quantitative easing, meaning that we inject money in to make it debt-wise, to make the debt a happy debt, is fine. You just don't know what you're talking about. That's the kind of education that we're learning the higher up the educational scale that we end up going to.
So then I guess we should ask them to write us a check to cover the debt.
Sure. Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, if they're saying that all this money injection, give me your money, let's put it into the coffers. That way we can burn your money and not my money for stuff that doesn't make any sense.
Same.
You know, the reason I called was I wanted to give Phil a quick kudos there. About 6 years ago, my wife walked into his shop. We were unknown to gold and silver, blah, 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 and that whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
We bought some silver from another shop, walked in there. He taught us everything we needed to know about owning gold and silver. We've sold it to him. We've bought it back from him. We've done, we've traded different things. We've bought some coins from him. I just want to give him a shout out for, he's just a good, honest guy. You can spend 15 minutes with him and learn a ton with the guy. So that's just my little shout out. But as far as the economy and Trump getting us to where we needed to be, and thank God that we had the right amount of people that voted him into office, not Hillary, I'm a communist, Clinton, because we'd be going backwards right now, folks. I mean, seriously, we're going majorly backwards.
No, absolutely.
But anyway, that was my 2 cents I wanted to throw in there. But thanks for that little interjection, and that was kind of a fun little thing to talk about with the millennials and what's going on in the world right now, because so many people right now think that you have to have X to be able to talk about it. No, you don't. Just read about it. How many people go out there and read books every day on different subjects, and they don't have college degrees? Some of the smartest people I've ever met never went to college. I mean, they're just incredibly brilliant people, business owners. Go to your banker and talk to them about opening a business. I did this 5 years ago, and it was funny to talk to our banker when we started talking to him. He goes, "I got guys that come in here with doctorates that have businesses open that close in 6 months because they just don't understand business.
Mm-hmm.
They're smart, but they just don't understand business." He goes, "I got guys that can't even finish high school coming here open businesses." He goes, "I got one right now." He goes, "The guy's worth $5 million.
Sure.
Never finished high school." So it's all about, your perspective of how you want to do the business. So
it's the book smarts versus the street smarts.
Hard work. That's it. Back to how smart are you and what kind of smart are you? So give it to the people of Kansas for working hard.
There you go.
We're smart, though.
Exactly. The last word before we let you go. But as you mentioned, Hillary being a communist, obviously you probably didn't hear one of the excuses that she used on why she lost the election, did you? Because of the fact that she said that the Democrat Party is now socialist, and she lost because she is a full-fledged capitalist.
Whatever. That woman is the biggest socialist. The only thing that she needs is some kind of a Russian name between Rodham and Clinton. There's just got to be. Somewhere they've hidden it. That there's a communist.
It's Hillary Vushka Vodka Rodham Clinton.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
There you go. There it is, my friend.
Have a great day, Buzz.
Love it, Joe. Appreciate the call very much, my friend. Got to take a break, wrapping up the show. There you go. The reason why Hillary lost the election. According to her, she is the capitalist, while the Democrats are now more socialist. Boggles the mind sometimes. 7 minutes to the top of the hour. Stay here.
This is the voice of reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker, KQAM.
We got about 2 minutes left of the show. Let's sneak in a couple phone calls, shall we? Line number 2. Good morning. What's your name?
is Helen.
Helen, how are you?
I'm doing just great. I wanted to wish you a happy Daddy's Day.
Oh, thank you.
And it sounds like you're a daddy of a real pistol. That must mean that you're a real son of a gun.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. And that is true all around, I guess. So that makes total sense now.
Yeah. And my mom used to tell me, before I had kids, she'd say, I hope you have one just like you. Earn your raisin.
That is very true. I love it. Helen, I appreciate that very much. I want to sneak in. We got to do this. I haven't even done it. Helen, thank you so much, by the way, and happy Father's Day to your family. I appreciate that very, very much. We haven't even done the last one today. The second one of the day.
If we're going to be brutally honest, the drawing you made of me when you were 3 was far from a perfect likeness.
All right, Meg, stay incredibly still. I'm going to whip that cigarette out of your mouth and maybe not slice your face in half.
I need some peace and quiet. I want to focus on the turkey. Everyone just go to bed.
Bob, it's 6:30.
I don't care. Just go to bed.
You love that turkey more than you love us.
That's right. I do.
Call now at 721-8255 and get registered for the ultimate Father's Day with KQAM.
There we are with the second one of the day, as we did not get to do one yesterday, but let's do caller number 2 right now at 721-8255. Talk will get you registered for the ultimate KQAM Father's Day giveaway, brought to you by Roden Roofing, 358 South Laura Street. RodenRoofing.com is their website, along with Auburn Hills Wine and Spirits. Visit them on Facebook for their deals and location and specials at Auburn Hills Wine and Spirits. Line number 2, caller number 2 right now, 721-8255. Talk will get you registered for the ultimate KQAM Father's Day giveaway, brought to you by Roden Roofing and Auburn Hills Wine and Spirits. Everybody else, we appreciate the phone calls, love the conversation so much. We'll be back tomorrow to wrap up your week on a free-for-all Friday. This is The Voice of Reason. Have a great Thursday, everybody.